My channel Online Biology Tutorials. In this live of today, I will be explaining you excretory system taken from the life processes chapter of class 10 science NCERT. This is the last life process given in the chapter. There are three more life processes given in this chapter, which we have already covered. One was digestion, and another was respiration, and then it was circulation. So we are coming to the excretion now. So as the excretion function is being performed by the excretory system, when it has a suffix system, that means we are talking about an organ system. Organ system is made up by the combination of organs. Organs are being made by the tissues, and tissues are formed by the collection of cells. So, the structural and functional unit in the case of excretory system is going to be nephron. Do not confuse it with the neuron or a nerve cell because that is the structural and functional unit of the nervous system. Here we are talking about excretory system that will help in the excretion. So the structural and functional unit of this system is nephron. The tissue will be known as renal tissue, and renal word will every time be related to the kidneys. Organs will be kidneys, urinary bladder, ureter, and urethra. So all the names that I have taken will be explained with the help of diagram as well. Kidney, ureter, urinary bladder, and urethra, and together they will make up the excretory system. Now, what is the main function of the excretory system? It helps in the excretion, right? So whenever metabolic reactions they take place in our body, they produce waste in the form of nitrogen. All living organisms they produce waste that is rich in nitrogen. Now these forms of nitrogen could be different in different organisms, like the waste could be in the form of ammonia, or it could be in the form of urea, or it could be in the form of uric acid. In class ninth, you have already read that nitrogen is a very important element required for the plant growth. It is also a very important element required by the human beings because nitrogen forms the main component of the amino acids and also the nucleic acids, means the heredity material like DNA, right? So nitrogen is a very important element because it makes up the proteins, and proteins are the building blocks. But once metabolic reactions are being done, it gets converted into the toxic form. So it requires to be excreted out. That is why it is a compulsory, it is a mandatory process that this form of nitrogen has to be excreted out. So this will be excreted out by humans in the form of urine, right? So the nitrogenous waste, it could be of three types in all the living organisms, but majorly if we are talking about human beings, it would be urea. So the organisms that would be excreting waste in the form of ammonia are known as ammonotelic. The organisms that will be excreting the waste in the form of urea are known as ureotelic. The organisms that will be excreting the waste in the form of uric acid are known as uricotelic. So ammonia will be known as ammonotelic, urea, ureotelic, uric acid means uricotelic. So the amount of water requirement will be maximum in this and minimum in this, and it would be average water requirement in the case if organism is ureotelic. Let's say the names once again. As I said, that nitrogen is a very important element required for the plant and the animals because these will make up proteins in our body, right? So nitrogen will make up the proteins, nitrogen will make up the nucleic acid, and the nucleic acid in our body is DNA, which stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. But metabolic reactions converts this nitrogen into a toxic form, which is removed by the excretory system in the form of urine by the humans. So all the living organisms, they excrete waste only in the form of nitrogen. That is why whenever a question of excretion comes, you should definitely write upon nitrogenous waste should definitely be there because it is a key word. So, if the organism is excreting ammonia, then that organism will be known as ammonotelic. If that or another organism, for example, if we are talking about humans, if we are excreting in the form of urea, it will be known as, so we are known as ureotelic. If we are talking about the organisms that excrete nitrogen in the form of uric acid, we are going to call them as uricotelic. So let's see quickly the examples of each. So because monotelic organisms are the ones that require maximum amount of water. So fishes and all the other aquatic animals, they come under this category. For ureotelic, I have already told you that the water requirement is average. So humans come under this category. And if I talk about uricotelic, means the organisms that are excreting in the form of uric acid, birds come under this category because they require minimum amount of water for it. So this was the brief intro for the excretory system. Now remember, human body produces two types of waste. Okay, one is the solid waste and another is the liquid waste. Solid waste is a part of digestive system. Whereas if you talk about the liquid waste, it is a part of excretory system. This thing is also not clear to many of the students. So be clear with this. Solid waste is going to send out by the last part of the large intestine, which is rectum, and rectum sends out the waste with the help of anus. Excretory system will be sending out the nitrogenous waste by filtering the blood with the help of kidney. And by the filtration of blood, what is formed? Urine is formed. Right? And urine is rich in which component of the nitrogen? It is rich in urea. That's why human beings are known as ureotelic. Now let's move ahead and see all the organs that are a part of excretory system. So organs of excretory system. So we will be studying one by one. First of all, you should know kidneys are there. How many kidneys are there? Two. One will be known as left kidney, another would be known as right kidney. Then we have a tube that emerges from the kidneys. Kidneys have, each kidney has one ureter. So one will be the left ureter and another would be the right ureter. So left kidney will lead to left ureter, whereas right kidney will lead to right ureter. Both the ureters, they will join into a bag-like structure, and that bag-like structure will be known as urinary bladder. It is going to store the urine and then it will be sent out with the help of urethra. So these are the organs that are going to help in the excretory system. You should write them in a flow: kidney followed by ureter, then urinary bladder, and then urethra. Now, quickly, you should also learn where are kidneys located. So they are located on the dorsal side of the body. Dorsal means where your backbone is there. So just opposite to the abdomen on the back side, on either side of the vertebral column or the backbone, we have two kidneys, right? So in case kidneys you are drawing, Also noted down that they are the bag-like structures. They are resembling the shape of a bean or a rajma. Always, once you are making the kidney, make sure that this kidney, which is actually occurring on your right, is the left kidney of the body. Whenever we draw the organs, wherever we are drawing with the right hand, on the right hand side, the left structure has to be drawn, because if you pick up this diagram and relate it to your body, it is going to be your left kidney. And this is going to be your right kidney. So two kidneys are there on the dorsal side where your vertebral column is there, and they are located just close to the backbone. Now, these kidneys, they contain, each kidney contains millions of nephrons. What are nephrons? These are the structural and functional unit of the excretory system. Means these are the cells that will be participating in the process of excretion. So as I spoke, that left kidney will lead to the left ureter, and right kidney will lead to the right ureter. Ureter is a tube-like structure that actually carries the urine from the kidney and sends it to the urinary bladder. So in the bottommost region, this is urinary bladder, and urinary bladder sends out urine outside with the help of a structure which is known as urethra. So left kidney will lead to left ureter, right kidney will lead to right ureter. Both left and right ureter will be joined to form a bag-like structure which is urinary bladder, which will be storing the urine. Once the bladder is little less than half full, we develop an urge to go to the toilet, and the urine is excreted out with the help of urethra, which is composed of two types of muscles. On the inner side, it has smooth muscles, and on the outer side, it has skeletal muscles, which are under the control of human being. In a newly born baby or in an infant, slowly and gradually the hold on the skeletal muscles is developed. That is why they learn to urinate only at a specific time. Also, uh, blood vessels are being shown to you in one of the diagram of NCRT, and in that diagram, renal artery and renal vein is written. Remember, once we are talking about excretory system, we don't have to talk about oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in the kidney. When you read the word renal, please relate it with kidney, one thing. And also remember that artery, renal artery will be rich in the urea, and it will be, the renal vein will be free from urea, right? So renal, what is related to the kidney? So the blood vessel that would be bringing the blood towards the kidney and that will be rich in urea. This blood vessel is known as renal artery, whereas the other one, renal vein, will be free from the urea, right? So after knowing all the organs that help in the excretory system, let's study the process of urine formation. Urine formation includes three steps. So the first step is going to be ultrafiltration. Ultrafiltration. The second step is going to be known as tubular reabsorption. And the third and the final step will be known as tubular secretion. Tubular secretion. So we need to know all the steps in a serial order. We cannot write it randomly. Before we study each part, let's draw the diagram of a nephron. So in the beginning of the nephron, the part that I am drawing right now is Bowman's capsule. And after this Bowman's capsule, nephron has a tubular part, which is PCT. T. I will be writing each name one after the other. Then comes a U-shaped structure, which is Henley's loop. And then comes the DCT, which is another tubular part. And then comes the last part, which is collecting duct. And there are a bunch of capillaries that are present around the Henley's loop. So these are the capillaries that are there and they run parallel to the Henley's loop. So I will be writing one by one all the names so that you can write it down. So this front part is known as Bowman's capsule. There was a scientist called Bowman who discovered it. Just to honor, this name was given. So this part, which is occurring just after the Bowman's capsule, is known as proximal convoluted tubule. This blue U-shaped structure is known as Henley's loop. The part that occur just after it is distal, distal, distal convoluted tubule. So the spelling of convoluted tubule can be written here. And this last part is known as collecting duct. Collecting duct. Okay, and these are the capillaries that surrounds the Henley's loop. So broadly speaking, the first part is Bowman's capsule, the second part is proximal convoluted tubule, the third part is Henley's loop, the fourth part is distal convoluted tubule, the fifth part is collecting duct, and then you need to show the capillaries as well. Now, at the top of the Bowman's capsule, there is a bunch of capillaries, and these are known as glomerulus. Okay, glomerulus. So these are the capillaries that will be bringing the blood towards the kidney so that the blood can get filtered. This is a well labeled diagram of a nephron. You can pause the video if you will be watching it later, or if you are watching it live, you can practice it along with me. First part is glomerulus, then Bowman's capsule. So glomerulus is just the glomerulus is the tuft of capillaries that rest upon the Bowman's capsule, right? So it is not counted as a part of nephron. Nephron starts from Bowman's capsule, PCT, Henley's loop, DCT, collecting duct. And capillaries, they are helpful because they maintain a counter current system, which you will be studying in 11th, not required for class 10th. I am making a nephron again because I need to show what actually happens when the urine formation occurs. So just wait, let me remove the thickness. So this is Bowman's capsule. This is PCT or proximal convoluted tubule. This is Henley's loop. This is DCT. This is collecting duct that I am drawing right now. And the bunch of capillaries that rest upon the Bowman's capsule, these are glomerulus, right? So the process of urine formation starts with the filtration of blood. So the first step is ultrafiltration. Why are we saying it as ultrafiltration? Because it is a very fine filtration in which all the components of the blood go inside the nephron. So almost most of the things goes, but RBCs, they stay out. That is why We should never excrete blood in the urine. It is an abnormal condition. So first step is ultrafiltration that occurs because glomerulus is a bunch of capillaries and the wall of the Bowman's capsule acts like a sieve or channi, and then it passes the filtrate inside. So once the filtration is done, what do we get? We get glomerular filtrate. Glomerular filtrate is formed. Now, this nephron has a fluid outside which is known as interstitial fluid. Interstitial fluid. This is very important because NCERT has written in a random manner where excretion system is not clear to a class 10 child. So for better understanding, you should learn one, two parts extra in excretion. That nephron has a surrounding fluid which is interstitial fluid. Now, see here, I have written the second step of urine formation is tubular reabsorption, and the third part is tubular secretion. We are already done with the first part, that is ultrafiltration. Now, remember, as the glomerular filtrate is has reached the Bowman's capsule, it is going to flow in this manner from PCT to Henle's loop. From Henle's loop, it will come to the DCT and then it will come to the collecting duct. Remember, you should use the word glomerular filtrate when it is transferring from the Bowman's capsule to PCT to Henle's loop to DCT. Once that filtrate joins the collecting duct, you should start calling this filtrate as a urine. So there should be a concentration difference between the nephron and the interstitial fluid. And up till and until this concentration difference is not there between the nephron and interstitial fluid, the urine will not be formed properly. So the second step of urine formation, which is tubular reabsorption, in this all the components which are a part of filtrate will move out of the tubular part of the nephron. जो भी चीजें हमारी बॉडी के लिए जरूरी हैं they have to come out because if they will be a part of filtrate they will definitely be excreted out. So which all things comes out? Glucose comes out, sugar comes out, amino acids come out, and what else comes out? Water. Very, very important for a class 10 child that all these components, by the help of tubular reabsorption, these parts they come out to the interstitial fluid. When they are not a part of filtrate, that means they will not be a part of urine. Simultaneously, the third step, which is tubular secretion, occurs. It occurs in the opposite direction. So, whatever things are required to be excreted out, they will go from the interstitial fluid into the tubular part. So, tubular absorption is occurring from the tubular part of the nephron towards the interstitial fluid, and secretion part, the last step of the urine formation, tubular secretion, will occur from interstitial fluid to the tubular part. So, all these ions which are required to be excreted out will become a part of glomerular filtrate, and if they become a part of glomerular filtrate they will definitely become a part of urine as well. So we have seen that urine formation requires three steps. First is ultrafiltration, second is tubular reabsorption which occurs to keep all the important electrolytes in the body. Major components that are reabsorbed are glucose, sugar, amino acids, and water. The third step is tubular secretion, in which all the components which are required to be excreted out will go out of the body. So once the urine is formed, it will come into the collecting duct. So in the kidney, there are numerous collecting ducts, and all the collecting ducts, I am making the diagram of kidney again. So once the urine is formed, it will come into the ureter. And from both the ureters, it will come into the urinary bladder. UB means urinary bladder. This is going to be the left ureter. This is going to be the right ureter. This is going to be the left kidney. This is going to be the right kidney. So once the urinary bladder is little less than half full, it is surrounded by neurons. So outside, all the neurons are there, and as the bladder gets filled, it is muscular, its walls get stretched, and this creates an impulse for the neurons that are surrounding the urinary bladder. They send the information to the brain, where the information is interpreted, then the information will come out with the help of motor neuron, and because of which the information will reach to the muscles of urethra, and the muscles are contracted and relaxed so that they open, and finally the urine is sent out. So the urine is sent out with the help of urethra. Remember, in boys, the urethra is extra long in comparison to the girls. That is why in boys there are lesser tendencies, lesser chances of getting the urine infection, whereas in the girls there are more chances of urinary tract infections, which are also abbreviated as UTI, right? So this was all regarding the excretory system. Why do we call it excretory system? What is its function? What are the organs that make up, and how the urine is formed? Now, as I said, that metabolic reactions in the body, they form a waste in the body which is rich in the nitrogen. So that is why whenever any question comes on the excretion, you should definitely write in your answer as nitrogenous waste. So this nitrogenous waste goes out because the kidneys, they function well. Because of some deformity, sometimes one or both the kidneys, they don't function. So in that case, the survival of the human being is dependent upon an artificial process. When I say artificial, means it requires the human efforts, it requires few machines to filter the blood which is rich in the nitrogenous waste. So in that scenario, when both of the kidneys, they don't function, a special process is done which is known as dialysis. Because in this dialysis the blood gets filtered, that is why we call this process as hemodialysis. It is actually an artificial kidney that helps in the filtration of the blood. Now, important thing, that blood is taken from one of the vein, and this vein is going to be the artery, because artery would be rich in the urea. So blood will be taken from the artery because as it is rich in the urea, and the once the blood gets filtered, it will be coming inside the vein, and then it will be circulating down. So dialysis will be done in a dialysis machine, which is known as uh, dialysis machine only. We can keep it simple, dialysis machine, and it uses a fluid which is known as a dialyzing fluid. Now, in this dialyzing fluid, the osmotic pressure is same as that of the blood. Very important to know. So, dialyzing fluid has same osmotic pressure as that of the human blood, but the impurities, the nitrogenous waste is not there. But in the human blood, which is coming into this machine, coming into this dialyzing fluid, coming around this dialyzing fluid, will be rich in the nitrogenous waste. So as the blood will come into this machine, the nitrogenous waste, because of the differential concentration, because of the phenomena of diffusion and osmosis, the nitrogenous waste will be staying in the machine, whereas the nitrogenous waste, when it will be removed, then it will be sent in the human body into its vein. I mean, into the vein, the urea rich blood will be going. Artery would be having the blood that would be richer in the urea. It will go into the dialyzing machine. The nitrogenous waste will be collected by the machine itself. And once it will be circulating out, it will be free from the urea, and then it will be going inside with the help of a needle inside the body with the help of this vein. Now, if dialysis is same as human kidney, what is the basic difference? The main difference is that tubular reabsorption process is not being done during this process of dialysis. That is why the important electrolytes will be sent out, right? So it is not doing the process of reabsorption. So while the process of dialysis is going on, important electrolytes may also loosen. For example, glucose, amino acids, right? So they can be a part of dialyzing fluid. So dialyzing fluid, once the dialysis is done, it will be richer in urea. Which process is not done during this process? Tubular reabsorption is not done. That is why this artificial kidney process is harmful over a long run. So, depending upon the extent of damage that has been done to the human being, the frequency of dialysis will be dependent. So, you should also know the details that dialysis works upon the phenomena of diffusion and osmosis. The dialyzing fluid has the same osmotic pressure as that of the blood, but the nitrogenous waste will not be there, but it will be richer in the human blood that is coming into this machine. So this dialysis is also being done. So MCQ question can come on this. Now, before we end, let's talk about the excretion in plants. This excretion is plants is a small topic, but you should definitely read about it. Now, if I talk about excretion, then in the case of respiration, CO2 is the excretory product of a plant, and respiration is generally being performed by the plants at night. So, CO2 is the excretory product, and you know that gaseous exchange occurs in the plant with the help of stomata. In case photosynthesis is happening, then the byproduct of photosynthesis is oxygen. So, this oxygen, which is produced as a byproduct of photosynthesis, it will also move out with the help of stomata. Remember, with the help of respiration, which occurs at night, CO2 will be produced and it will move out with the help of stomata. With the help of photosynthesis, oxygen is the byproduct. Again, plants will let it out with the help of stomata. Excess of water can also be moving out because it is not required. So it will move out by the process of transpiration, and transpiration also occurs with the help of stomata. Sometimes the excretory products in the plants are being stored in the vacuoles. Leaves also stores the waste products, and leaf may fall in the case if excretory products are more in them. Also remember, raisins and gums are also the excretory products in the case of plants, and they may be helpful to the mankind but not to the plants. That is why a plant is always benefited by sending them out. So excretory products in plants are gases, CO2, which is produced by respiration, oxygen, which is produced by photosynthesis, and gaseous exchange is always being done by stomata. Water, excess water in a plant can also be an excretory product, and it will move out with the help of transpiration, and transpiration is done by stomata. Vacuoles may store the waste products. Leaves may also store the waste products. If the amount of waste product in leaves of a plant increases, then leaves may fall. Also, the excretory product could be raisins and gums. So thank you for watching today's live. In case you are new to my channel, you can visit the playlist for class 10 science. It has a lot more content and audiobooks as well that can help you out. There is complete video series on the heredity chapter, and it is not being written well in NCERT. So definitely my playlist will help you out. Do consider subscribing in case it was helpful to you. So in today's video, we have understood the excretory system and the details, how it takes place in the plants and in the animals. See you in next life. Stay connected. Thank you.